Welcome to ResponseABLE Parenting, the podcast that shows you how to parent in alignment to your emotions, needs, and goals versus your programming, bad advice, and let's face it, outdated strategies that just don't work. You'll get in the trenches support on nervous system and emotional regulation, critical mindset shifts, stronger communication strategies, and more. In this podcast, you'll gain transformational tools that take you from reacting to every frustration to responding with clarity, regulation, and finally setting the example you desire for your kids. I'm Becky Jennings, your new parenting coach, and this is the ResponseABLE Parenting Podcast. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome back. I just literally hopped off a client call, raced and walked the dogs as fast as I could so I could get back to this seat so that I could put this on record because we unlocked something in this client session and I was like, it's too good. I have to share it. She said something and I was just like frantically writing it down because I was like, this is such good information. So essentially what we were talking about is what happens when you make an agreement with your kid and they just don't follow through when it's time for them to follow through. It could be anything like for instance, we're playing Monopoly right now. It's been this rolling game of Monopoly and we've probably been playing it for like a week at this point. And they're like, if we just brush our teeth really, really fast, or we do the entire bedtime as fast as possible, can we play for 10 extra minutes, right? Or in this scenario, it's like you get to watch X amount of TV until I finish X thing that I am doing. But when I am finished, the TV has to go off, right? And great, agreement. Yes, I get it. We've established what the rules are. We've established what the agreement is. And then when it's time for them to turn it off, what happens when they don't? And I think it's a really tricky place, especially when we are trying to come to the table in a kind of way, in a nonviolent way, whether that be physical or verbal. And we are just like, come on, we made the agreement. We set you up for success. You got something that you wanted, and I was able to do what I had to do. Like, come on. Why are you making this so difficult? So we talked about it in length, but I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes because I think it's really helpful. So essentially, there's two components to this. And that is where I think we always forget. We think there's one component. We think the first component is the whole thing, the agreement. We think the agreement, once it has been made, that our child will actually be mature and responsible enough to follow through with their agreement because that is what we would do and that is what we expect from others. Here is where the switch needs to happen in our brain so that we can actually manage the situation more effectively, stay in our right response, stay on track with our goals of being nonviolent in the way that we speak, being really the calm model that we are trying to be for our children. And that looks like seeing them as two separate entities. The first entity is the agreement, where we establish the rules of what we are going to do. We establish the guidelines, the barriers, we establish how that's going to look, whether that's brushing your teeth and getting showered and getting your pajamas on and getting ready in as short of a time as possible so that we can play a couple rounds of Monopoly. Or it's you get to watch TV while I finish this Zoom meeting, and as soon as I am done with that Zoom meeting, the TV is going to go off. Rules are established, right? So that is step one. Us as parents, we see that as the whole step. However, we forget because we're human and we have been trained to believe that the other person is going to respond accordingly, that our child will likely forget the agreement that they made. Not on purpose, and let me just reframe this. They're not forgetting to manipulate. They're not forgetting to get what they want. When they say 5 more minutes or, oh my gosh, please, that's not them trying to give you a hard time. That's not even them having a hard time. That is currently them in their feels, in their excitement, filled with dopamine, doing something that they love. And it's very, very hard for children to stop doing something that they want to be doing and transition to something that is more boring or transition to something that is a requirement, right? I gave the example on my client call that like when the TV show that I'm watching, if it's in a series, is over and it's like 9:30 at night, I'm like, oh, do I push the boundaries and do I kind of wreck my sleep for the next day and watch just one more show because I'm really into it? Or do I do the responsible thing and turn it off and go to bed? Right? We've all done this. It's really, really hard to stop doing something that we are enjoying to move to something that's more responsible. Wah, wah, wah. That's just how it is, right? That's how we are wired. We are wired to do something that brings us more joy than we are to do something less fun. That's why that book, Eat That Frog, was so popular because it was basically like do the worst, most boring things, the things you don't want to have to do at the top of the morning when you have the reserves so that you don't push it off more and more throughout the day and then eventually never get it done. I'm digressing, but anyways, my whole point to this is there are now two buckets that we need to be aware of as parents. We have the agreement bucket, and then we have the follow through bucket, which is the transition bucket. Transitions are super, super hard for kids no matter what age and stage they are. Transitions, we are asking a child to intrinsically, mean internally, self-motivate to turn something off, to stop something fun, to be done with the cool thing, to move to something less cool. We are asking them to be out of high dopamine to frustration. We're asking them to basically be an adult in a tiny micro body, which is impossible. And so we can get all up in our feels and be like, how dare you disrespect me? How dare you treat me like that? We made an agreement. This is clearly a reflection of how rude you are, how you're not learning anything. Maybe it's a reflection on how weak I am as a parent, and all these storylines swirl through our heads, which is elevating our thermometer, elevating our temperature, which is driving us to the point of explosion where we're seeing white, red, hot reaction. And then we shut the situation down verbally with some aggression. Maybe we snatch it out of their hands physically. Maybe we do something that shows them how physically angry we are over this reaction, over this choice that they're making. Maybe we belittle them. Maybe we yell. Maybe we snap. There's a host of things that we do as parents to show our dissatisfaction with their abilities in that moment. However, if we approach this situation and know that we are going to be set up in two ways, right? We know from the jump that this is a two-part process for us. We are able to react and respond in such a different way. So we do the thing, right? We set up the scenario and we create the parameters and we hope, okay, we're hoping that they can follow through, but we know that they are going to need support in the transition. We know they're going to need a little bit of a push to get that going, right? We know that. So we aren't going to expect them to do it all on their own. And when we remove that expectation, we're not taking this whole situation nearly as personally because we recognize that it's part of our job to teach them this process. Honestly, I don't mind if my kids get frustrated. In fact, I enjoy it quite a bit because I am teaching them what to do when they are frustrated, right? I am supporting them through that frustration. Frustration's going to hit them left, right, and center for the rest of their lives. I don't want them to be like, oh, my mom always removed this part for me. I kind of want to be the part for them, right? That teaches them how to do this. So when we can look at it as I need to do phase one, but I am 100% on for phase two, then we remove a lot of that power struggle. Then we get to come in with a clear game plan of how we are approaching that transition phase, that follow through, and we are way more set up for success as opposed to being quote unquote blindsided by their attempt to get 5 more minutes or blindsided by the fact that they are so rude and snappy over having to stop doing this. And oh my God, how dare you, right? We expect it. And we know biologically they are moving from high dopamine, something that is really fun, that they are really enjoying, that's giving them the actual stimulation that they've been craving. And we're telling them, now it's time to go brush your teeth. And they're like, no, they don't want to. So we get to employ strategies in this part. So we know and we are preemptively aware of how that is going to send us through the roof. So we are going to make sure that we do a little quick nervous system regulator before heading into that transition, whether it's deep breaths, whether it's drinking a glass of ice water or something that helps us go, hey, nervous system, you are not in any danger. Yeah, you're going to be frustrated. Yes, this is uncomfortable. It's very annoying, but you are actually very safe. We're going to train our bodies to know that even in the face of agitation and frustration, we are safe. Okay, so we've done that before we go speak to our kids. So then we're like, okay, guys, time to turn off the TV. Okay, time to brush your teeth. Okay, time to do XYZ. We hear the no, we hear 5 more minutes. How dare no, right? We hear all that. And we're like, this is exactly what she said would happen. And thank God I regulated my nervous system beforehand. And I say, oh, we made an agreement. And now it's time for you to follow through with that agreement. I know it's tough, but I'm here to help you. Now, your child doesn't see you as a threat. Your child goes, yes, they're still very frustrated. Your child is still very annoyed. Your child is still in their feeling center, trying to regain control of the situation, trying to maintain access to this dopamine stimulator that they are experiencing. However, you have now not entered the chat as a new threat, right? You have entered the chat as a neutral being who is there to support them. So their nervous system isn't saying, wah, 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 threat. That is important because when we add an additional stimulus, which is our coming in hot, our saying, how dare you, our ripping something out of their hands, creating a new problem, right? They don't see us as a threat. They see us as a support. And so we can still maintain that firm boundary of this was the agreement. I'm going to help you and support you through it. But we can do that in a calm tone, in a neutral tone, and we can take as much time as it needs to allow the child to get through that, right? So that can be like, you have 2 choices, right? I always love 2 choices with them giving the option to do it independently first, followed by me stepping in and being their support person. So that would look like we made the agreement that as soon as I was done with this Zoom call, we would turn off the TV. I'm done with the Zoom call. It is time for you to turn off the TV. Now! All right, you have 2 choices in this moment. I know you're frustrated, but here's the options. Number 1, you can turn it off all by yourself and follow through. Or 2, I can come over there and help you and turn it off for you. What's your choice? No, 5 more minutes. All right, so it sounds like you're choosing option 2, where you need my support, and that's okay. I'm happy to give you support as long as you need it. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to turn it off. No, it's okay. I've got you. I'm going to turn off the TV. They might still be frustrated. They might still be flailing around. That's to be expected, right? We already know that. That's part of this process. So we are now going to be able to support them through that frustration by moving on to something else that feels good, right? Hey, I see you're super frustrated. Would you like me to give you a back rub, right? That co-regulation. Would you like me to like scratch your back, maybe rub your hand? No. Okay, well, we do have other options. We have some games in there. You can go outside and play baseball. You can yada, 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 right? Whatever their favorite things are, moving them to another dopamine type of stimulation. If they, we're just kind of moving them through their options. I love having multiple different options that work for them. So first of all, I'm always going to offer a co-regulation, my body, my nervous system towards them. If they say, hell no to that, then I'm going to give them a different dopamine switch. Like I'm going to give them an opportunity to move to something that it might not be as equally stimulating as the screen they were just on, but they still really like it and enjoy it. So I'm going to offer that next. It's 2025 and there is more parenting advice than ever before. Yet we're still confused, stuck, and as a result, fall back into yelling, threatening, and punishing in moments that don't require such harsh reactions. Parenting has evolved, and it's time your parenting strategies do too. Welcome to Rewire with ResponseABLE Parenting. This is where you get the support you're looking for so you can make fast, positive, and long-term change in your household. Inside this complete parenting system, you'll get a done-for-you roadmap that teaches you how to understand why you get so triggered, how to support both yourself and your child in the heat of the moment so you can react less and respond in a way that connects you versus creates more ruptures. You will quickly create a new nervous system baseline, allowing you to access more regulated and effective communication so that you can set and hold boundaries without meltdowns, reduce power struggle nightmares, and truly dial down the temperature that spikes every day. And if you're like me, you crave instant results and personalized feedback. Now you can join Rewire Level Up and have 6 months of weekly coaching calls. In these calls, we work together on your specific challenges and we hyperspeed your rewiring process. This means you see faster changes in your home, which means relief sooner. This is your complete program to rewire your parenting brain so that your whole family can finally exhale. Join Rewire today and start feeling relief as early as tonight. Then, if that doesn't work, I'm just going to start modeling breath and give them an option for that for themselves. Maybe we've already pre-established some breath work that they like that we can utilize right now. Or I'm going to offer a physical release. Like, it looks like you're so mad. Let's go ahead and rip something up. Like, here's a piece of paper, here's a piece of cardboard, or take a pillow and smack the bed, or heck, smack me, right? So these are all the things that I like to do in order to support them through a transition. Is it going to be like this every single time? Absolutely not. But we're giving them the model at which they can start to follow. And over time, they are going to start getting so much more comfortable with this process of agreement to follow through because they know no additional threat is coming in from the parent. You are just providing support and holding firm to the agreement that you already made. So we have them in 2 categories. Let's recap real fast. 2 categories. You have your agreement. That's kind of going to be the fast thing. Right? That's going to be the no time at all. Here's what we do. I'm on a Zoom call. You watch TV. As soon as it's done, we're done. Agree, shake, bye. Okay, that's the agreement. Now we're moving on to the follow through. That's where we get to do the work, right? That's where we're teaching and modeling the skills. We first step in regulated, or at least down a couple notches, right? We are preemptively understanding that our body is going to detect a threat. We are going to intentionally tell ourselves that we are safe and we are heading into a conflict zone that I can handle. We are going to maintain, this was the agreement, it is time to follow through. When we receive the pushback, not if, when we receive the pushback, we are offering them 2 choices. The first choice, you get to independently do the thing that we agreed upon. And if not, no worries, I can support you through that. So then we offer that support. That might not feel comfortable to them. They might be pushing and screaming and saying, no, this is awful. I hate you, all the things. Then we are giving them pre-established, and I like to have talked about this, and I'll do another podcast episode on this, but I'd like to have a pre-established set of 4 different nervous system regulators for my kid. Number 1 is anything physical co-regulation from my body to their body, my nervous system to their nervous system. The second one I like to do is a dopamine switch. It might not be equal to the dopamine that they were just experiencing, but they still like it enough that they are willing to switch to it. So I call that the feel-good list, and maybe that's 3 to 5 things that you know they will enjoy. Number 3 is a breath work that they like. Whatever that is that they like, that they know, that they feel like it's helpful, access that. And the last would be a physical release of frustration, whether that is, stomping or growling or ripping something or whatever, but it is a contained, safe thing that you have agreed upon beforehand so that they can get out their frustrations without destroying the house, right? So I like to offer those 4 different options while moving through a transition that they are feeling very frustrated in. All the while, you're telling yourself, I'm actually not in danger. Yeah, I'm annoyed. Yes, I'm very frustrated. Yes, this feels very uncomfortable, but I'm actually safe inside and I can actually get through this. So that was real fast, just throw it all at you. But I hope it was really helpful because a lot of the times we feel like we get stuck in that moment where we've given the two choices and they're like still pushing back and we're like, oh, what do I do? Or the sassiness is like escalating our nervous system quite a bit. So it's like, how do we set ourselves up for success in these moments? All right. Share with me, send me a DM if you really liked this episode. Tell me if you want to hear more stuff like this. Oh, and I forgot this one thing. On Tuesday of last week, I hosted a free workshop all about this, right? I basically talked to you about 4 different ways to rewire your brain so that you can actually respond appropriately in the moment. It's called Rewire Your Responses, right? And this is so huge because it is all backed in neuroscience. There have been so many studies on this at this point that we now know that the brain can actually be changed from its default settings, that we are not fixed and stuck in these patterns and habits that don't serve us. So I teach you the actual steps to go through and rewire your brain. If you didn't attend the live, please go ahead in the show notes. I will have the replay option for you. So tap into that. It is so huge. And I do offer something fun at the end for you of that. So if you are somebody who really wants some personalized feedback, there is an option there. It's a little fun little bonus for you. So definitely jump in, listen to the workshop, and thank you for joining me for another episode. I will see you next week. Thank you for listening to the ResponseABLE Parenting Podcast. If you like what you heard, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. If you know someone who would benefit from this podcast, I'd be honored if you'd share this episode with them. Until next time, know that you are enough, you are capable, you've made it through all of your hardest days, and we will keep growing on this parenting journey together. This podcast was produced by Kim Kelty and myself, Becky Jennings, and edited by the Kelty Method, Branding and Podcasting.